Hello, in this video we'll be going over getting started with the QuiC tool and creating a new project and initial configuration. To start this video, it's assumed that you have already watched and installed the QuiC tool from the previous video. If you have not already installed the QuiC tool on our website, please go watch that video for instructions. So once we've installed the QuiC tool, we should be able to open our programs list and either see it in a folder called Maximatech here, or on your desktop, or wherever you selected it be installed. So I'm going to just go ahead and open this. Well, it created something on my desktop, but so if we want to check the version that we're running, you can go to the help section here and you'll see the build version. So for this video, I'm running 2.4.0.0, which is the latest released version at the time of making this video. Obviously, though, the version may differ for you guys. Okay, so this is the main view of the QuiC tool that we'll get. And we'll get to what each of these mean. For now, this is open project, and if you hover over any icon up here, it should give you a description of what it is. So if we wanted to open an existing project, we could do that from there, and we'll be doing that in future videos. But for this video, we're going to create a new project. Project name, so this is pretty self-explanatory. I'll just call this video example. Down here are location. So a note on locations. If possible, use a location that is on your local computer and not on your company network if you have one. The reason for that is because we've had some experiences where customers saving to their networks when they go to build a project or open a project, it takes much longer time than if it's just saved on your local computer. So if you have a location on your computer that is not on the network, I recommend using that location for saving your files. So for mine, I created a applications directory outside of my network, and then CC Pilot VI QuiC projects. All right, so this next drop down here, the project templates. So we have a basic and advanced project template. So for this video, we're going to do advanced. The main difference between them, advanced adds in some additional functionality, but most of it you can add in yourself if you need it. In this case, the main thing that you would want advanced for is if you're using DM1 and DM2 messages for CAN, those are diagnostic messages or warning messages. If you want to use that feature of the tool, which we'll get to in future videos, then it's better to choose the advanced project. But if you don't need to use DM1 and DM2 messages in your project, then you can just go with basic. For us, we'll do advanced though, and we can remove things that are not needed. So we can hit create project. And you should see this program output pop up, and it should give you, project loaded, and this project configuration editor comes up. So we'll go over the settings here in a basic sense, and I think that will be what we do in this video. So then we'll move on from there. So project overview, you can By default, it says Maxima Tech Engineering. You can change that to your own name or whatever you want. It's not necessary. As you create new revisions of the project, or if you want to create notes on what was done, you can write those here. Let's go into the project configuration tab. So this one asks you to select the model of the VI you have. Now we do have two different models available, 16 megabytes and 64 megabytes. The difference is in the flash storage. So one's 16, one's 64. Obviously 64 gives you a little bit more room, but most of our normal VIs are the 16 megabytes. The only reason that you may want to go with the 64 is if you're storing a lot of logs, doing a lot of logging, and you run out of memory in the 16 megabyte version. All right, so next we have a core speed of normal or fast. I would recommend you stay with normal. It will, if you select fast, it improves your processor speed, but it can sometimes have some weird effects outside of that. The default units, English or metric, so this should be self-explanatory whether mostly you're in the US or any other country. And this can be changed during the runtime, and we'll see how to do that in future videos. And then default language, English is right now the only option, but we'll come back to this in one sec as we look at language support here. All right, our file version. So this allows you to version your project. So if we wanted to say version 1, we might do 1.0.0.0, but if we were making small changes like engineering releases, we can increase the version here. So this just allows you some version control of your project. Software part number, as a default, it's 0. You don't need to change this at all, but you can create a custom part number for this software and along with the description. So for this purpose, we're just going to leave these as the default. And then here we have some advanced features, I would say. This disable image compression will allow you to not compress images that you use in the project. So normally I would enable image compression or not check this box, but if you are having issues with images that don't appear correctly, then sometimes disabling the image compression helps, although it will take longer to open up the image and take up more space. So we'll go over some of these as needed, but for now, let's not select anything. All right, on to language support. So the tool itself supports multiple languages that we can see here. So for example, let's just select Spanish support. But obviously you can select whatever support you want. Now if we go back to project configuration, where we had default language English selectable only before, now we have English and Spanish. And we'll get more into language support as we go. Again, you can change the language support within runtime. You don't need to, just because you select English, for instance, as a default, doesn't mean that the user won't be able to switch to Spanish later on. And we'll go over how to do that. So for now, we'll just keep English, Spanish selected and use English as our default. CAN configuration. So this is talking about configuring your CAN bus. So by default, the display source address is 28. So first off, you'll notice there's 2 channels, and this will be a similar theme in all of our CAN discussions. So the display itself has two CAN channels. So the source address of the display, and in these videos I will have to assume that the user has some CAN experience. I will try to make a video that goes over some basic CAN functionality in case you need a little refresher course, but I won't, in this video at least, or future videos, go over too much of what these things mean in terms of CAN, because that would extend the video length a lot longer. But so here we can change the source address of the display on channel 1 and 2. In general, the source address should be the same on both channels, but there may be certain cases where you might want them to be different. The default is 28, so for this case we're just going to keep it at 28. And then here we can change the baud rate of the CAN bus. So most CAN buses run at 250K baud, which is the default here, which we will keep. But if your CAN bus runs at 500 or 125, then you can switch it here. And then finally we have our ECM DTC configuration. So this portion, if you've selected a basic template, will look a little different. I believe you only just have this unknown here. So again, we have two channels correlating to our two CAN channels, and you'll see engine, transmission, and unknown. So these are the ECMs, or the ECUs on your CAN network. So the engine and transmission has been filled in by default, but if, let's say, you don't have a transmission module, we can just select remove here from channel 1 and channel 2 if we want. So for the purpose of these videos, we're just going to assume we're only using one CAN bus, and we'll use channel 1. So right now we're saying, okay, we have an engine controller in our network. The engine controller has a source address of 0, and we want it to be able to have 15 active and 10 inactive DTCs available. So we can change this if we want by double clicking and highlighting. We can change it to be 20 active and inactive DTCs. You'll notice 20 though is the highest. So if I try to change it to like 21, it gives me a warning. So the most we can have is 20 active and 20 inactive DTCs. We'll go more over what active and inactive DTCs mean and how to set those up in future videos. But for now, that's we'll set the engine to 20 active, 20 inactive. An unknown means if we get a DTC from a source address other than something we've set up in this list. So right now we only have source address 0 set up. So if it receives a DTC from a source address other than 0, it's going to say it's coming from unknown. And in this case, we can have 15 and 10 again, but we'll change this to 20 and 20. Okay, so once we've set up our basic configuration of the project, we're going to hit OK. We can just close out of this, and here's our main window, which we'll be sort of starting from all of our future videos. If you want to, at this point, get back to the configuration menu, which we were just at, we can use this little pencil symbol here to open back up our project configuration, and we can see that the selections we made are still selected. So if at any point during your project configuration or as you're building your project, you figure out you need to set up another DTC, for instance, you can come back in here and do that at any time. Okay, so I think that is about it for this video. Please tune in for future videos to figure out what the rest of the features of the tool are. Thank you.